Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens. Today's episodes, I have thoughts. Do it a lot. My name is Glenn Gers. I am the chief operating everything at Writing for Screens, a channel in which I am trying to take some of the tools and skills and insights that I gained hard-won and by myself in a 25-year career writing for TV and movies. On my way out of the business, I am trying to leave behind some of this stuff so that those of you who are starting out, working through your own stuff, might not have to go through the same arduous process of figuring it out by yourself. I'm trying to give you just a little head start. I can't finish it. I can't make your decisions for you. You have to figure out for yourself what will work for you, what you want to do, where you are. Every artist must make their own path. But if I can give you some things to try, some things that I found that you might try for yourself and see if they work for you, some insights, some questions, that's a good start on your path. Everyone has to figure it out for themselves. There are no rules. There are no right and wrong way to be creative, to write. There is no right or wrong kind of art. There is no final answer that you can get from someone else. You have to figure it out for yourself. So all you can do is try and build up your toolbox full of things to try, your skills, your experiences, your goals. That's for you to work on. All I can do is try and give you some stuff to work on. In order to do that, I have created here, this is a little screen grab of the channel main page. And if you look down, you'll see there's some playlists at the bottom. Here's a closer view of those. The first 3 playlists as you scroll down on my channel page are Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, Craft, and The Process, Being a Writer. Now, these 3 playlists contain about 50 short videos. Each one's about 10 minutes long. Each one has a single topic. That topic is not only the title, it is the thumbnail in great big colorful letters. So you can just scroll through and say, oh, I'd like to know what he says about genre, flashbacks, dialogue, character. Each of these topics, I have tried to develop a bunch of simple, thought-provoking skills, tools, insights, questions for you to try for yourself. And then you got to do it for yourself. You got to figure it out for yourself because that's what being an artist is. Pretty much everything I know is in those 50 videos, truly. That's it. But I've also tried to communicate in a different way with these live streams every Wednesday now, if I can make it at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I know is Pacific Standard Time American, which means that it's changing for those of you in other continents and countries because of daylight savings time. But I come every Wednesday at 1 p.m. with a different live stream. Today's topic, there's always a different topic. Today's topic is I have thoughts, do it a lot. This is a short one so that we can then do questions. But in the meantime, let me quickly say some hellos and then I'll get into it. Hello, Sonia and Ming in Brazil, from Brazil. Hello, Donna Nelson and Doreen Zimmerman and TT. Hi, all of you. I think we've got a smaller than usual crowd because of daylight savings time or perhaps because of just the way the world is lately. But that's okay. Let's get to it. Let's get to it because this is simple, but it's really important. I tried to keep this short. Basically, what happened was the past month or so, I've been trying to clean up, honestly, trying to organize my life. And I've been going through a lot of old notes and notebooks and things up there. I got boxes and boxes of old notes. The computer has even more. And so I started to look at some of these things. And I looked at some old journals for many years, starting in the middle of high school, going all the way through into my late 20s. I tried to keep a journal. So that's too much to read, honestly. It's just way too much to read. But I thought I'd just dip into a couple of things. And the first thing I thought when I looked at all this was so many pages written, so many. And in these notes, there's so many false starts. There's so many half-baked projects that I didn't really develop fully, or even got quite into, but then didn't finish. All this stuff that no one will ever see. We're talking thousands of pages, thousands, and no one will ever see them. And I thought, is that some kind of grand failure? Is that a waste? And I thought, the funny thing is, I was writing. I was doing so much writing every day, so much writing. And I began to think about the value of so much writing, the value, if you want to be a writer, the importance, the one tip I can give you more than any other how-to tip or plan, because, I don't feel like there's anything that one size fits all. But one thing really does seem important to me, and it's this one. Any genre you work in, any type of writing, any film, books, whatever, the main thing is you have to write a lot. You have to write all the time. Your brain has to be comfortable with the act of writing. And it almost doesn't matter what kind of writing you're doing, as long as you're doing a lot, it is going to help you to write as much as you can all the time, whenever you get a chance, but not save it up, not say, oh, I'm not ready yet, it's not good enough yet, things aren't perfect yet. To find some way to make writing things down a part of how your brain works. That is key to being a writer, as far as I can tell. I can't think of any situation or artistic path in which you should not write a lot. I think you should read a lot, but the main thing is write it down. Whatever's going on in your head. In my case, I was often talking about my how was I going to make a living? What was my writing going to be? What my love life, whatever it was. But I wrote pages and pages, way too much. No, I can't even read it. I'm just like skimming it like, God, shut the hell up. But the point was I was operating my brain in words on a page. And that is the thing I am trying to talk about. The main thing I want to say here is the answer to the problems of writing is writing. It's always writing. That's always good. There's no thing you can do which doesn't include writing that is going to solve your writing problem. It's just that simple. No matter what it is that you have, and everybody's got different problems, and no matter what your writing problem is, I'm telling you, if you don't know what else to do, just write stuff down. Write what you're seeing. Write what you fear. Write what you wish for. Write the bad version of whatever you're doing. Write a plan for things. Whatever it is, write it down. Write. The answer to the problems of writing is writing. There is actually one problem that this won't solve, which is if you write too much. The thing is, I just, very few people will say to me, I've been writing too much. Help me, I write too much. This just is not, yes, now and then you'll get someone who will say, I wrote 8,000 pages of my fantasy novel and I'm only at the beginning section. And I can't seem to, get it under control. That's a very rare and specific situation. And the answer to that is, if that's the case, then keep writing a lot, but also start working on craft and style and rewriting, editing, those things. But for almost everyone else, the answer is always going to be write every day, somehow or other. Write stuff down. Write your daydreams. Write your most terrible thoughts. Whatever it is, write them down. They're not for anyone else. You are writing for yourself. Write for yourself first, most. It does not matter. Yes, you may also be trying to make yourself a career as a writer and you spend some time with that, but no matter what, also spend your time, some time, writing for yourself. One thing that writing a lot does is it takes the pressure off. Because if you're writing a lot, then if something you're writing is bad, it doesn't matter because you got other things. If you're writing all the time and if you're planning things you're going to write and if you're practice writing, then you feel a lot less terrible about the inevitable failure of some of your writing. Inevitable. It is going to happen. It happens to all of us. It happens to everything. I do not know a single interesting or successful artist that I know the history of that does not include writing a lot. Even those who start very young, even those who weirdly found success when they were in their 20s or teens, they still write a lot. They still just, they are doing it all the time. Even the ones who only release a little bit at, like some people, they're famously, one book every 5 to 10 years or something. They're still writing a lot. There's a famous case, a guy named Henry Roth. Henry Roth wrote a book that became a surprise bestseller called Call It Sleep, which is a very stream of consciousness novel about slum life in New York at the early 1900s. The early 1900s. And then famously stopped writing. He never published another book. At the end of his life, it was discovered that he had written like mountains of other writing. He just didn't publish it. But he was still writing a lot. The thing about writing a lot is if you do it a lot, it will become natural for you to explore, to expand your horizons, to experiment. Because if you're doing it a lot, you're going to get bored of whatever it is that you do, and you're going to want to try other things. It's like if you were practicing the guitar and you were playing the same 4 notes or 4 chords, and after a month or two, you're like, I want to try a new chord. You would expand, you would get better. You will also gain confidence. If you are comfortable writing things down, you will have more confidence when you try and write something hard or scary or interesting and challenging, because at least you know how to write things down. At least the flow of words is a comfortable pattern for you. So the main thing is, this is going to make you a little weird. There is no one who pursues a solitary and in your head art form who is not a little different than most of the people they know, because a large part of your life should be off in your head, writing it down by yourself. That's weird. You're going to have to learn to live with that. You're going to have to learn to enjoy it and not be uncomfortable about the fact that others may not get it, or that there's an amount of negotiation of your time and life that have to be worked out for that. That's all okay. So the thing that I want to add to this is that making art is not easy. Making art is not easy. Like when I say write a lot, I'm making it sound like, oh, sure, just write a lot. It's hard. It's hard. Even if you're just writing your journals like I was for much of my youth, it's not easy. None of this is easy. It is always going to be challenging and difficult. But that not easiness can be a source of joy, a source of pleasure that you are working on this not easy thing and doing this not easy thing. If you want to do the marathon, if you want to run a marathon, I don't know of anybody who says, okay, I'm going to run the marathon, and they start by doing 26 miles. They're told start, and you have to build up your strength for this hard thing you are doing. But that is in itself a joy. It does become a joy, even though it's hard, even though it's brutal. Most writing advice, most how-to, most videos and books and stuff, they're trying to show you how to make it easy. They're trying to say, look, you do this thing and it gets easy, because that's what you want to hear. And they're trying to sell. We're all trying to, get your attention and get your, if you're selling stuff, then you want to be popular. And what's popular is being told that it is not hard, that you can do something that will make it easy. That's a lie. It's not easy. It can be easier. It can be fun, but it's not easy. It's hard work to do this stuff. And the way that it gets easier, the way that you find pleasure in the hard thing, is by doing it a lot. I think that it's more important for me to sell you actual long-term help than short-term reassurance. I just think that the important thing to remember is this is hard, but it's not impossible. And the thing that makes it possible is doing it a lot. So it's a weird kind of difficult that writing presents us, because it's not physically hard. No one, you're sitting around writing or typing or whatever, voice recording into a dictation software. Whatever it is, what's hard is emotionally. What's hard is the emotions that it brings up, and the uncertainty. The uncertainty is what kills us all. And obviously it's hard different ways for different people. But the solution to all these different ways of being hard is to do it a lot. Do it a lot. That is the point of writing. Here's the other secret. Doing it a lot is not the means to the writing. It's the end. Doing it a lot is the actual point. What you want to be able to do is do it a lot. The reason that you're having trouble is because you can't do it a lot. If you were doing it all the time, you wouldn't be struggling. So just try and remember that, in fact, the way that you look at it makes a big difference. And if you're looking at it as like, oh, I have to do this to get to there, that's painful. That's scary. That's emotionally murderous. However, if you remember that doing it a lot is actually the point, then you're already there. You're already winning. You've already got it going. If you just do it a lot, just do it as much as you can, when you can, how you can, without it being something that you have to show people, without it being something that you even necessarily have to finish, write for yourself, try and please yourself. If you are doing that, you have reached the goal already, and then you're just playing in the pleasure of being a writer. The whole point of getting to be a professional is mostly to get to do it more. That's the whole reason that people want to be a professional, is because, if I could get paid to do this, I wouldn't have to worry about the other stuff. I could just do it. You also feel rewarded and all that stuff. But the truth is, the point of being a professional is to do it more. So if you just do it more, you've already beaten the professional question. Maybe you'll make a living, maybe you won't, but you'll already be doing the thing. That's the point. How amazing is that? To get to the goal right away and then just enjoy that. Work on that. Learn from there. Who knows what your version will be? My version was thousands of pages of handwritten journal in these ledger books that is frankly mostly unreadable, and certainly unreadable to anyone but me. But it meant that the language was in my head. The use of language, the use of words. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. Use your words on the page. Okay, let me, that's the end of this topic. Let me get some hellos. Hi, Pelicans. Hello, Jean. I'm glad to see that ward number 6 has made it. I'm glad I make you smile. I am trying. Hello, Mark Burton. Thanks for doing this. I always appreciate your videos. Great. Your advice regarding 6 rules of story structure. Yes, that's fabulous. I am glad that those have been helpful. That is terrific. Hi, Ricky. Big question today from Ricky. Does a writer have a moral obligation to try and counteract the meanness and darkness in the world with positive themes? Or should art be its own domain? Great question. Great question. The answer is yes and no. The answer is not all art has a moral obligation to change the world or to counteract the darkness of the world. Some art does. You have to decide for yourself what kind of art you are doing. There is certainly no, if you are the sort of person who feels that everyone has a nonstop moral obligation to do good in the world, then you would naturally see that art should do that too. That's a position you can take. It's not absolute. It's not I have to tell you, I am a little concerned about something that has developed over the past 40, 50 years in certainly American and Western culture, which is this belief that we are all required to fix the world all the time, that we are required to save the world, to do good, to help that your job can't just be that you get to put food on your plate and have a safe place to live, but that you also have to make the world better. I don't know that that's fair. I don't know that that's even possible. We are very small and the world is very big. And I'm not sure how much difference we make. Certainly, if it makes you feel better to make a difference, yes, of course, it is a good thing if you can put forth a bit of positive energy that someone else will pick up on and feel good from or do good from. Great. However, there's also a lot of really great art which is dark and depressing and agonizingly shocking. And there's a lot of art that's just plain silly and stupid and fun, and it doesn't make anything better at all. Now, somebody could say that actually can make a difference in the world. You can make somebody happier. But the idea that we are all responsible in our work and our lives to fix the world may be a privileged delusion. Not to say that we shouldn't try and that we shouldn't be good. We should certainly try not to be mean and dark in our personal lives, I believe. But I certainly don't believe that we are all required, that we have a moral obligation, as you asked, to counteract or to do anything. I don't know that there is any particular moral obligation to art. There are many possible moral obligations to art, but there is none absolute. I'm not a big absoluter. Okay. Hi, Michael. Okay. For about 3 years, I was a long-distance trail runner. Nobody understood my dog. It was hard fun. Thank you, Gene. Yes, exactly. I can't run half a block. I am terrible at that. But I can do the hard endurance things like writing a novel. And there's a lot of hard things. So I just use that as an example because it seemed true. So I'm glad to hear from you that it's always true. I'm always one idea from Donna says, sound advice, Glenn. I too have thousands and thousands of pages written exploring topics and creative expression. I looked back at my writing recently. Interesting. Hey, yes. Yeah, it is. The cool thing about writing a lot is that you can then look at your writing and you see yourself. It's like seeing a snapshot of yourself, but like an internal snapshot, a snapshot of your thoughts and feelings or your interests or your style when you see your old writing. So it's pretty cool. I advise it. See, you can't. It's like if you didn't take the snapshot, you can't look back 30 years later when you've forgotten. I was looking back at some journals and I was seeing things. I was like, oh my God. I have a memory of this time in my life, which is sort of a trailer for that part of my life. It's a quick summary, and it's false. A lot of it is false. When I see the details, I'm like, oh my God! On a day-to-day basis, I totally had forgotten that this happened. I'd totally forgotten that I thought that. It's just valuable. I personally believe that a little bit of diary or journal writing is a good thing for a writer. But it's not necessary. It just seems like a good way to exercise your brain. Hi, Pedro Santos. Good to see you. I'm glad you're lurking here. That was my whole topic today. Was simply the more that you get into the habit of writing, the practice of writing, the formal continuation of putting your thoughts and feelings and ideas into the shape of words and sentences. That's not a natural thing to do. It's not like we all do that. We all have these feelings and then we try and turn them into words in our speaking, but it's a big difference to try and write them down. And while school gives you a beginning practice, the truth is, unless you actually work on it, unless you try writing and finding a voice or a bunch of different voices, you can't do it. It's not natural. It's not you. It's not like you can get your plan all set, but never practice and then just do the thing. That is definitely not how things work. Donna says to Ricky, "You're speaking to my heart with that question. I've certainly done my best to do just that, but I also find light, inspiration, and joy from unlikely places. I'm compelled to do my bit." Yes, many of us will be in a bad situation or a difficult time, and it makes us feel better to try and put out some positive vision or some statement which guides or helps people to stand up to things that are wrong. Those are all good things. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm simply squeamish about the concept of a moral obligation of art. That's, like I said, just me. And there's certainly nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's a moral obligation not to do positive things. We are in an interesting time. I feel like it's important to recognize the difference between us and history. Very, very few individuals change or guide history. Does that mean that you're planting a garden or recycling is not important? No. You certainly should do good things in your small scale, but that does not make you responsible to fix the world, in my opinion. Okay, Ricky says, "Thanks. It was bothering me because a beta reader felt like my writing was too negative, but maybe that was just their take." Well, certainly it was just their take. Here's the important thing to remember. Anything that anyone says about your writing is just their take. Anyone. It doesn't matter if they are the editor-in-chief of Penguin Random House. It doesn't matter if they are the head of the French Academy who judges whether or not you can become in the Academy, or the Motion Picture Academy. It doesn't matter. None of them. It's just their take. It's just their opinion. There is currently, especially in the world of culture and the arts, a fairly militant agenda that says art should do this or not do this or be this. I would say any strong militant agenda of any kind is going to be too narrow for the reality of art. If you want to be in a certain group, if you want to play in a certain business, you may have to adopt the values of that group or business. Sure. But that is not an absolute. It is not a global truth. It is not a historical truth. There's lots of different things. Some people use art to vent their darkest feelings. Is horror writing positive? It depends. Some horror writing ends with the grimmest, most awful stuff. For a long time, there was a sort of, you're going to go through the dark in order to find the positive light, which is also good. But there's nothing wrong with somebody who says, I need to vent my deepest fears. Other people might go, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one who felt that way. I don't know. I'm always one idea from reaching my daily goal. I would say, well, do you mean one idea like you can't write the idea or there's something else that you're trying to do? All I would say is the daily goal should be do something. Get something on paper. That's got to be the dailiest goal. Days are different. but if you can make the goal, try and write something down every day. Like today, I couldn't work on my novel. Got a lot of things to do in the afternoon, and this morning I was preparing for this. But this was writing. I was creating. I had to create these notes to do this. I'll give myself a pass on that. It's a bit painful to look back, a bunch of ideas left unfinished. It doesn't feel good. It's difficult. Well, yes, that is true. I would hope that you would find in those unfinished ideas good things. You would say, well, because here's the thing. Suppose you finished it. It's like, and I have done this. Suppose you finished a complex, rich work, and it was years of labor, and you finished it, and no one reads it. Is that Does that mean it doesn't matter? Does that mean it's not good? No. So hopefully you'll look back at your unfinished stuff and say, oh, at least I had some good ideas. At least I wrote a cool sentence. At least whatever it is. And that hopefully will make you continue to want to do that. Because the point is not to change the world. The point is not to gain things from expressing yourself. The point is to keep doing it. The point is to make it part of who you are because it's good for you to do, because it feels good, because it helps you to organize your thoughts. It helps you to deal with your feelings or your fears. It helps you to feel like the world has some meaning or shape or worth, even if it's fleeting. Those are the reasons that we create. And then if somebody else likes it, even better. But if all you're doing is doing it in order to get those likes, to get that money, it is going to feel terrible in the long run. Far worse than an unfinished good thing. So it can be painful to look back at a bunch of ideas left unfinished. Couple things. One, you may still have time to finish it or to rewrite. I had a script that I loved, but I couldn't quite solve it. And years later, I saw what was wrong with it. I never did the finishing. I didn't write it. But it just felt so good to say, oh, that's what's wrong. That's what there was an additional goal in it. Like I had this great story and then I had this extra thing that I wanted to get in. And that extra thing was messing up everything else. But it was so close to my heart at the time that I couldn't see that it was extra, that it was too much. Years later, I look back and I'm like, what's this thing doing there? It's just in the way. If I was going to rewrite this now or finish it now, if I got rid of that thing, everything else is doable. So you never know. Hi, Matthew. Doreen says, it seems to me that what's in the heart of the writer will bleed into whatever we're writing, and usually that's enough. I agree with Doreen. It is, I believe, very true that you can be writing the grimmest, most terrible, frightening thing, the most nihilistic, depressing thing. And yet if your heart is with the characters and if you feel some human empathy for them, it's very possible that even in the midst of tragedy, you will convey hope. Let's remember, there's a whole school of art. One of the original and most taken seriously schools of art is tragedy. Tragedy is not as popular as it used to be, but it should be. Tragedy is often something which is just painful to see, but something about it makes us feel better. So what are you going to do? Moral obligation can sound very preachy and cheesy. Yes, that's absolutely true. Plus, who decides what the right moral is? Censors? I don't like this idea of moral obligation, especially in any kind of self-expression. I agree. Here's the thing. I do believe that many people, especially if they are, in a sense, activist, and if they are devoting themselves to making the world a better place, which is a good thing to do, they can often get so intensely determined to do that thing that they feel all things should become part of it. I'm currently in the novel I'm writing. It's set in the 1930s, which was a time in the USA in which actually communism had a big wave. There was actually a large wave when the Depression nearly destroyed America. A fair number of people said, clearly, we feel that capitalism is not working because people are starving and the system is not working, so therefore communism is the solution. I don't know that I think they were right about that. Certainly not the communism that they were planning. But the main thing about this that I discovered was how much people would say art must be subservient to the social system, the needs of the society. And therefore art should be essentially promoting the values that the government, the system, the caretaking culture requires. And therefore, art should be supporting the public good. That made for some very crappy art. And yet, it's a legitimate theory. It's a legitimate argument. You could say, what is this artsy stuff that's undermining our values, that's is breaking up our families and bringing, immoral actions to people's minds? And that is a good question. I don't personally believe that controlling art will control people. I just don't think it works that way. It reminds me of a scene. There's a spoiler here for the movie Clockwork Orange and the book. There's a sequence in Clockwork Orange, and this is not the end, so it's just spoiling a mid section. At a certain point, the hero, Alex, who has been a horrible, destructive, nihilistic gang member, he goes to prison, and they say you gotta do good, be good, learn the good way, and he begins to work for the chaplain at the prison, because he wants to read the Bible, because much of the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, there's sex and violence galore, and he just loves to read that stuff. So, we think that art is going to steer us one way. It goes all over the place, because I believe human beings go all over the place. My personal take on it, but one of the funniest sequences is watching Alex in Clockwork Orange fantasizing about the Bible, and all he's seeing is sex and violence. Thought it was funny. Okay. Donna, on Ricky's question, I found an entire book I was proud to have finished from 2015 but didn't publish because I paid an editor to check it, and they were personal in their criticism. It really got to me at the time, and I didn't publish it. I regret that, so I'm editing it myself now. Having published 23 books now, I see her attacking me, not my work, was so unprofessional. Yes, definitely. That's the number one. This is a good note. This is a good art note in general. If you have something that you don't like about the work, it doesn't mean the person is therefore to be criticized. Just that simple. Okay. Jean says, one way to write is to look characters as they are during a time in life, looking through the rear view mirror. Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's, first of all, people do bad stuff. People have feelings that hurt other people. People are messy. And I believe it is healthy and moral to reflect upon that, to portray it, and to think about it, and to get the audience to think about it. Ideally, it would lead us towards the good, but you don't know. But I do believe that pretending that's not true is probably not going to be successful. Jean says, I love tragedy, and that's why I'm still now in word number 6. Read Russian authors. Yes, exactly. Those Russians and their dark sense of life. And Jean is also being supportive of Donna, who is saying, I'm going to take that old book that I didn't get out there and put it out there. Yes. Also remember, the point of writing is not to do things to other people. I mean, it's nice that it happens sometimes, but the truth is you do it more for yourself and for getting it out, which is the only thing that you can control. It's the only thing that you can know for sure is what you are doing with your work and what you feel it will do. Michael says, in 6 hours, I wrote 1 page. I'm trying not to panic. Why would you panic? 1 page. You got a page done. That is good. And sometimes a page takes 6 hours. That's just the way it goes. If you're getting a page done, take the rest of the day off and start again tomorrow and do another page. If you keep doing that, In 120 days, you'll have a script. In 300 days, you'll have a book. 1 page a day is great. Sometimes people work faster, sometimes people work slower. That's not the point. Matthew says, when a story isn't working, sometimes you have to let it sit. It often takes time to come up with ideas and solutions to make it work. Yes, exactly. Matthew's point is very good for Michael, which is if you're taking six hours to get 1 page and you're feeling frustrated and confused, sometimes set it aside, come back to it. Very often, for me at least, that's when I figure stuff out. Wow. So Donna just is churning out the books, which is great. Good. I am glad. Good for you, Donna Nelson. Yay. So listen, it seems like we're there's no more comments, no more questions. So I'm going to start winding down because I don't believe in just dragging these things out. I run to an hour just because that's all I can take. But if we're running less than an hour, I had a short thing to say. And so let's just leave it at that. I'm going to start to sign off now. It is fabulous to see all of you. I will see you all next week. Let's all just try and keep writing. Go write something.